Johnny, thanks for coming on.
No problem.
For those that don't know you, founder of 400 Gradi Group, I'd argue a pretty serious entrepreneur in the hospitality sector. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No worries. I want to get straight into it. I think in entrepreneurship, we talk a lot about, and we were talking just before, around your first business is never your last. So before 400 Gradi, before the Gradi Group, what did that look like?
Pre 400 Gradi, we had 9 other businesses that we opened up over time. It wasn't like, we had 9 businesses at once, because I opened up my first one when I was 19. So from 19 to about 30 years old, we had 9 other businesses. We still have one of them today.
Wow.
We still held on to one of them. And then that's when Gradi was born.
So it was in those 9 businesses, all in hospitality, correct?
All hospitality. First one was like a sort of an all-rounder, I call it, a cafe restaurant, because we were open from, morning till the evening. So it sort of transitioned from coffees and, breakfast in the morning to, sandwiches at lunch. We were serving obviously pizza and stuff as well at lunch, and then turning into a restaurant at night. That was hard.
What was hard about it? Tell me about it.
Oh, just the hours. When you're starting off a business, you try and do everything yourself. So I was practically working, 6 a.m. all the way to, sometimes 1 a.m. every single day. So yeah, it sort of takes a toll, and it's a great way to burn yourself out.
100%. In those kind of businesses, what was probably the most challenging thing, apart from the time and that you were having to outlay? Obviously going from one business to a second business and being in the hospitality industry that young.
Yeah, look, what I've learned over the years is you can't do everything. You need to sort of, pick what you want to be really good at and put all your efforts into that. And the way I see it is, with the first business, I thought, we're paying rent 24 hours a day. How can I stay open as long as I can? In theory, it sounds good, but it's not. Especially if you're trying to do it all on your own, and it's it's a startup, because that was a startup for me. It was my first one, so it's pretty difficult. Maybe today it'd be a little bit different, a bit more achievable, because a lot more experience. We have really well-trained staff that we can put into different positions and sort of stagger it out. So if you want to open breakfast, lunch and dinner, can be done. It just needs to have a little bit of a thought process behind it.
Tell me about that. So that thought process and opening for multiple services, I guess, breakfast, lunch. How do you go about that now, obviously with your years of knowledge in that space?
I would structure them as 3 separate businesses, or 2 separate businesses, because you want to make sure that you've got people that are experts in, let's say you're opening 6 a.m. breakfast, because you remember, breakfast chefs and people that run breakfast aren't necessarily good at doing, restaurant quality food. So they're two different things. And you've got to get people that specialize in either breakfast and lunch, and then you got to get another crew that specializes just in dinner. That's how I would break it up. So I would look at it as 2 different businesses. It's one in theory when you look at it, and when you're doing your numbers, it becomes one. But you want to also break it down so you can see where the cost centers are, and where the where your margins are at for each split shift, if you want to call it that. So if you're doing, for example, 6 till 3, that could be your breakfast and lunch. You want to run that, understand the P&L around that, and then understand your P&L for your night trade, let's say, 5 till 11 or close, or whenever you're closing. So it becomes 2 separate businesses, but in theory, when you put them together, it's one business.
You talk about the P&L. What are you looking for in terms of making decisions around, if I have this one restaurant or cafe, I'm doing breakfast, I'm doing lunch?
Yeah. So when we're running a restaurant, let's say, your P&L, I break it up into 3 sections. You got your cost of goods, you got your labor, and then you got your fixed expenses. Fixed expenses are 24 hours a day. So it doesn't matter what you do, those fixed expenses are going to be there all the time. Your rent, your electricity, your gas, your outgoings, et cetera, et cetera. They're there. You can't do anything about that. So you need to understand your fixed costs. Then I would break up my labor and also break up my COGS. I would, if I was running a business like I was running my first business, where incidentally it wasn't a successful business at the end of the day, right? But if I look back on it, I know what I did wrong. I would break it up and say, okay, my COGS and my labor for my first business, which is 6 till 3, and then my COGS and labor for my second business, which is 5 till close. My fixed costs will then be halved, because at the end of the day, they're 24 hours. And I would then look at those two separate P&Ls and say, is it worth opening 6 till 3? Yes. Is it worth opening 5 till 11? No. So I would then make that decision whether we try and push that night trade to try and get a lot more night trade in, or just close that part down and run, just your first business, if you want to call it that, your 6 till 3. So sometimes more is not better. Italians always say less is more. I live by that in everything I do now. But in saying that, there are a lot of successful businesses that run, morning till the evening. We've got a lot of Melbourne successful businesses that do that, but they're structured that way from the start, and they're legacy businesses as well. They've been around a long time. People know that you can go there at any time and maybe get a coffee and cake, or you can get, something to eat at night. So they're legacy businesses, and they were built like that, a long time before I was even in hospitality. But I think if you try and do it today, it's pretty difficult, especially with the rising costs in everything that we do.
So your piece of advice would be to potentially look at maybe not opening all day and picking one or the other.
Pick one or the other and just smash it. Like really put all your efforts into it. And then it's easy to build on top of that. It's harder to try and do everything at once. And then, you fall into that trap of, I'm going to have to close lunches now, or I'm going to have to close lunch and breakfast because it's not working. Is that going to impact the way people perceive the business as well? We were open before, now we're not open, and it becomes sort of stressful. So I believe, pick one of them, and then if you want to build on it, no problem, because if your first business, let's say 6 till 9 or 6 till 3 is working really well, and you want to build on top of that, it's easy to do that, especially when it comes to marketing. You got more funds, you can put more money into it, you can put more effort, you can throw more staff at it. If you try and do it all at once, you've got these two variable costs that are bigger than what you need. So, your COGS are going to be higher, your staffing costs are going to be higher, your fixed costs are going to be the same. So, yeah, just pick one and just really smash it.
So if I had maybe I've just opened a restaurant or a cafe, for the sake of this, we'll do 9 to 3, I'm doing a breakfast. It's successful, but I'm looking at opening up the second one, but I want to kind of drive my P&L up for that first kind of half, that breakfast. What's your first kind of actions around there?
From going from one unit to another?
Yeah.
So 1 to 2. Look, I've spoken about this so many times, and every time I say something like this, I get a lot of people asking me a question, why do you think that what I'm saying is right? 1 to 2 is the hardest. You can have one really successful business, and you're in there day in, day out, and you're driving it and you're pushing it. And look, I don't care what anyone says. An owner is always an owner, and it's really difficult to get someone that's going to love your business just as much as you do. You can pay them all the money in the world. You can throw hundreds of thousands of dollars to people. At the end of the day, it's not their business. They switch off. They'll go home after their shift. They're going to switch off. They'll be back the next day, and they're going to put the effort in, but the efforts are probably 80% rather than having an owner-operator running it at 100% or 110% effort, right? So going from 1 to 2, you need to have the confidence that you can pull yourself out of that business and that everything will run exactly the same like you are in that business. If you're not confident that that's the case, then I advise strongly against you opening a second business. Unless you're opening a second business with a partner and then you've got 2 owners in that, then that's a different story. But if you're doing it on your own, one 1 to 2 is extremely difficult.
So you spoke about removing yourself. I think it's kind of like, you heard of key man risk?
No.
Okay. So it's kind of like, if I remove this one person, keeps my organization running. It's kind of the similar thought process here. It's Johnny's in the restaurant. He's the key man. You need to remove yourself the best way possible. How are you going around that? Because like, for example, like I run an agency. We just do SOPs. Do you have like an equivalent there for hospitality? What does that look like?
Definitely. We've got SOPs nearly for everything. You need to have a cost management system or restaurant system that is running your business. And if you can find something that can do nearly everything, then that's great. You need to have the right point of sales. You need to have the right accounting system, payroll system. You need to have a good back office system. So it's, people tend to believe that hospitality is you open the doors, make good food, give great service, and we've got a successful business. It's a lot more than that. There's the after hour things that people don't see. And also the setup. How well have you set it up from day one for it to operate like you're not there? That is so important. SOPs, systems are like, I am a very, very system-driven person. If I can find a system for everything, then I'll put that system in place. Now, a system's going to save or help your business. They won't save, but they will help identify any issues that are coming up. So if you don't have a system in place for, I don't know, how, your opening procedures, you might have a way that you like opening, your restaurant or your business, right? So you might get there in the morning, how you're going to set up, how your table setting is going to be, how your kitchen needs to be operating before service. If you don't have a system behind that, then people will think or will do it the way they think you want it done. See, as business people, in our minds, we know how we want things done. It's all in here. It's all in your head, right? And we think that the person that we're talking to or the people that we're working with, they can read your mind. We as business people, we think that people are mind readers, but they're not. They will only do what they see or what they believe they're seeing. See, what you see and what you believe you see are two different things. Once you have a system in place and it's written down, documented, and trained, and training is so important. We've just put on an L&D person on learning development, because it is really important that there's someone responsible for that, so that staff are being trained for certain things that the business requires. Then that your staff are probably going to do 80-90% of what that system requires, but better 80-90% than 20% of what they think you want done. And that's where a lot of businesses go wrong. They like I said, and I'm an owner, I'm an owner operator. I've been in the business, and I've been on the business, and I've done all the 360. I know it all, but biggest mistake that I believe is that we as business owners, everybody can read our mind, and that's a mistake. And I've made that mistake, and as long as you're making mistakes that you can learn from, hey, it's okay.
100%. You need to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, failing is lessons, and you got to be able to identify, where can I go from here? I've got two follow-up questions. One is about hiring. Obviously, I feel like it may be a little bit different in the hospitality space, but how are you going about hiring someone? So maybe I own a restaurant. I mean, I don't own a restaurant, so I don't know who I'm exactly hiring, but in that sense, what are you looking for? And then after you've made that hire, what does that training process look like? Like obviously you were mentioning before, you have a person on L&D now.
Yep.
What does that process for Gradi look like now compared to potentially where it was 17, 18 years ago?
Yeah, very different to 17, 18 years ago. Before, people would come in, oh, hi, I'm looking for a job. I'm a chef, or, I'm a waiter, or I'm looking for a management position. If you got anything available, oh yeah, great, come in, have a trial, see how you are. And we'd hire on their skill. Today it's different. Okay. We can teach a skill, we hire an attitude. So we interview people, and we do multiple interviews now. It's not just one. It's not, let's just quickly hire this for the sake of hiring somebody. So we go through a three process interview, right? On the last interview, we have a panel of people that are also interviewing the person. And this is for positions that are in management. We will then, if that person's successful, the successful candidate comes on, we then do an induction. We go through the history and the story of where, Gradi was founded and where we are today, where we want to go, what we expect from them, KPIs are presented, and then that's when the L&D comes in. So, we'll have our L&D person meet up with them, go through what the business, expects from them and what the culture is, and there's so much behind it. But if I go back and look at what we used to do and what we do now, definitely what we do now is a lot better. But on the other hand, what we used to do is, just hiring people on face value and skill. There's a percentage there of them being good at what they do. It's not a guarantee. Now, is it a guarantee the way we're doing it right now? No. But there's a much higher percentage of how we're doing it right now that we will get really good candidates, especially in high level positions. When it comes to, let's say, wait staff, we still go through the interview process. But again, we're hiring now more on attitude rather than skill, because we can teach the skill, but we can't change your attitude. So, if you got a great attitude and you're going to fit the culture, or we believe you're going to fit into the culture of the current team, then we're going to hire you.
So hiring for personality over skills.
Definitely now.
I feel like it's become a very big thing, and I feel like as someone that would be looking for a job, I feel like we always kind of take it as, I'm just the best at the job, so give me the job.
Yeah, no, look, I've had people come in and have been skill-wise extremely talented, amazing. Anyone would say to me, "You're crazy not to hire this person." But the personality wasn't there that we required.
What does that look like?
Well, we want people that are going to love other people. That's the main thing for us. If you're a person that loves people, then we'll hire you. But if you're a person that is great at your job or have great skills, but we can see that you sort of get bothered with people, we're not going to hire you. Yeah.
So if I was, going back to this kind of example of having a, breakfast service, and obviously I may not have a 3-step interview process, but I may be hiring someone, what would you be taking from where you are now and saying, look, this is what I would do?
All depends. Are they coming in off the street or are you advertising for them?
Let's run both scenarios. Let's start with, I've walked up, I'm a chef, and I've given you my resume.
Yeah. Okay, so if you walk up, chef, I'll read your resume, go through it, see where you've worked. Key indicators for me, how many jobs have you changed in how much time? So if you're job hopping and you're at one place for 6 months, then another place for 4 months, then 8 months, then 10 months, I won't hire you, because that indicates to me that you're not stable. You're not a person that wants to, grow their career and learn, because how much can you learn in 10 months? Not much.
No, not at all.
You're just getting started.
100%.
So yeah, I look at the resume in that sense. I then ring some references, make sure that the references because a lot of people put down references that are, friends and all people that they've worked for that, are going to vouch for them either way. So I ring a reference, we ask a few questions, we see if those questions are answered correctly, and then we take it from there. We call you back in, come in, do a paid shift with us, see how you go. And then we see, if you're a chef, we'll look at your skills, how you move in the kitchen, how clean are you? Are you wiping your benches after you've prepped something? Like they're the small things that we look at that you think, oh, but who cares about that? No, I do care about it, because the way you conduct yourself in a trial is the way you are going to work for me consistently for a long time, whether you're there for 2 years, 1 year, or 10 years.
Mm. If you were advertising a job, what changes there?
We vet the applicants. We have a team now that, goes through all the applications. They'll call every single person that applies.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not just reading the resume. They're actually doing a sort of a speed interview over the phone just to see how they conduct themselves and, what their answers are to the questions that are being asked. And then our team will recommend candidates for us to then go through the first interview.
For sure. You spoke about, going back to that kind of hiring for personality. Obviously, if you were hiring a chef, you obviously want the chef to be good at their job.
Yep.
And obviously culture right now in terms of I come as a management, where we are, where we want to go.
Yeah.
What's kind of an equivalent if I'm trying to get to say a Gradi level at some point in my career, owning a restaurant? How are you or are you even worrying about instilling that culture or those type of values in say a small family restaurant or a small establishment?
I think if you've got a small establishment and you're there every day, you're building your own culture anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got more of a hands-on approach, and you got to remember that when you're building culture in a restaurant, everyone's different. So everybody's personality is different. So you sort of become a psychologist, right? Because you want to be able to listen to people as well. And that's the thing that a lot of business people go wrong. They don't listen to people's problems. So, that takes a lot of time. But as an owner-operator, you've got a lot of time to do that because you're there. You're pretty much, your staff is your family now. You're working 38 hours a week with particular people every single week. Most times we're not even 38 hours with our own family at home. And we're talking constant 7-8 hours a day, over that 4, 5, 6 days, whatever the case may be. But building culture is a personal thing when you're owner operator. You build it the way you believe it needs to be built. When you're running a restaurant that is under management, the culture needs to be driven. It needs to be driven by the manager, but also the manager needs to understand the story and the culture the business is trying to develop. So there's a little bit of a thought process behind that. It's a lot different. They're two different things. I'll give you an example. When I was running the first Gradi in Lygon Street, I was there every night. We'd have knockoff drinks. We'd have a laugh during service. I'm a bit of I'm serious when it comes to service, but I can also throw in a few jokes every now and then just to break up the mood. But that's how I am. But I'm in there. I'm like in deep with them. I'm working. If the dish is having a problem, I'm going there helping them. If the chef's having a problem, I'm helping them. That builds culture that if I'm the owner and I'm willing to do that, then everybody steps up and they want to do that as well. When you're running a business that is under management, if the manager doesn't have those skills or that enthusiasm to make sure that their team is looked after, then the culture starts to drop because people say, well, I'll only do my part. And when you're running a restaurant that the staff say, I'm only going to do my part, then it becomes a bit of an issue. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to break out of that. It takes a long time to break out of that.
Kind of the thought process of no job is too good for me to do.
Exactly.
Leadership at the end of the day.
100%. I walk into all my restaurants, I tell everyone, and my staff know, I'll walk in, I'll say a quick hello, and the first place that I go to is the bathrooms. And I go check the toilets. And if they're not clean, I'll clean them myself, but I'll bring it to their attention, because that's the level of leadership that I want to demonstrate. Is I'll clean a toilet. I don't care.
Do you think that's what separates, I don't want to say bad restaurants, but the majority to the few?
Possibly, yeah.
I want to go back. You were saying before, especially if you're an owner operator in a small business potentially 38 hours without seeing your family. Over the last, 18, 20, 30 years, however long it's been.
30, yeah.
30 years. How much have you missed? And what has that kind of impact been and how are you managing that? Because I think, if you were a small business and you're trying to go bigger, I don't think it's uninformed. You want to make sure they're informed and knowing what they're getting into and what that looks like and how you're managing that.
Yeah. A lot of people tend to forget the sacrifices that are made when you run your own business. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, you're always going to sacrifice. Hospitality is probably a little bit maybe a bit harder than another industry. Like let's say you're a tradie. You're a tradie, you get up at 5 a.m, maybe 4 a.m, probably start your day at 6 and you're home probably by about 3, 4 o'clock. You get home, you're probably tired, so you're not, giving 100%, but you're still present. When you're running a hospitality business, you're not there at night, especially if it's a restaurant. And you're not there during the day either, because a restaurant is a 24-hour job. Like even today, even though, I don't regularly work physically in the restaurants myself anymore, but I'm still up at 6 and I'm still getting home no earlier than 7 o'clock at night. So the days are long, the work is hard, and who suffers in that? It's the family life. But you're either in or you're not, right? And also, depending on the partner that you choose, hopefully you choose a partner that understands your career choice from the time they meet you, because not a lot of people can stand, look, let's look at the statistics of people that are married or have been married in hospitality. There's more separations than not, right? It's because of the lifestyle. You're out all night and you're working hard, you come home late, you then back up in the morning, and then and it's just rinse and repeat until you can get to a point where you can sort of pull back. How we did it, we committed. My wife and I, we just committed. We said we're going to commit to this. And the first 10 years, it was difficult. I mean, we had kids young. I didn't see my kids grow up really. Obviously I saw them, I'd get home, see, go kiss them good night, even though they were already sleeping. I'd get up in the morning, and kids always get up early, so you'd see them, a little bit then, or the weekend. I used to try and take at least, half a day, so I could, be with the kids and stuff. But at the end of the day, this is what this career is about. Restaurants, either you're in or you're not. It's not a half full glass; it's a full glass. You got to be in.
You're talking about going all in. I want to go back to when you were 19. It's actually kind of funny because I'm 19 right now, and I resonate with your story about going all in when you decided to do that restaurant. And you're like, I'm giving this 100%. No ifs, buts, the sacrifices. For someone maybe my age, going back to where you were, what kind of advice are you giving them if they're looking to get into hospitality, and what did that period of life look like for you?
Let me ask you a question.
Okay, here we go.
How many hours a day are you putting into your business?
Too many.
What's too many?
I would say on an average day, 16 to 18 hours. Yeah.
How many days a week?
Every day.
7 days.
There's not a day that you don't work.
Perfect.
That phone's still going.
You just answered your own question. If you don't commit at a young age, remember at 19, I thought I had all the time in the world, right? And I hear a lot of people say, you're young, you have plenty of time. Just take it easy and, find what you want to do, and, it'll come to you, and, it'll all fall into place. Yes, it does eventually. You're probably stuck with a 9-to-5 job that you're going to hate forever, right? If you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to get into business, you need to do the grind. I don't care what anyone says. And you need to do it knowingly that you will not earn the money that your friend is earning working for a company that is paying them a salary, a consistent salary. So you might make a little bit today, you might make a lot tomorrow, but when you even it out across the year, you probably made half of what anyone else is making.
Or nothing.
Or nothing. Or nothing, right? So you need to put in the work. There's no secret pill. There's no secret magic wand. Very few. It's like so the people that make it really big, really fast, and people say that are lucky, because I don't think anyone's lucky. They're not the 1%ers. They are 0.0001% of the people that will open their first business and really kill it. It's like a football player. They say that there's only one Maradona born every, 30 years. Well, that's the same in business. There's only one Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the rest of us have to grind. And if you're not willing to put in the effort, then don't do it.
So you mentioned before, it was a little bit of a shock. You said the 10 years were rough. I think a time is a little bit of a, don't actually look at it at that large of a horizon, because you speak about the people that come up so quickly, and we'll get into that a little bit with social media and how quickly it's like you see all this stuff, especially, for example, I don't know how deep into social you are, but Miami or money and all this type of stuff, and how much of a false pretense that is.
Look, social media has been amazing. It's helped people probably speed up the success. It has, right? Is everything you see on social media real? No. And look, I've got now, adult kids, and I tell them all the time, like, don't look at what's on social, because half of these people, if you shake them upside down, you're lucky to get a coin out of their pocket to buy a coffee. It's perception. But sometimes, they say fake it till you make it. Yeah, that's great, but how long can you do that for? Right? You can't fake everything forever. So if you want to get there and really become successful, you need to put the work in. There's no other secret. But things like social media can speed up the success. Now, when I say I grinded for 10 years really hard, and I'll tell you, we lived on credit cards for 10 years. We had no money at all, right? If I look back and think, if there was social media back then, would have I had to grind for 10 years? Maybe not. Maybe I would have only found it difficult for maybe 3 to 5 years, maybe even less. If you really got that audience that were following you and wanted to come along the journey, then yes. So maybe today you can speed it up. I believe you can. Social media has been great for business, for every business. It doesn't matter what you do. If you sell A4 paper, or if you're opening restaurants, or if you a tech startup or whatever, social media has been just amazing. So, when I say I grinded for 10 years and I made nothing, because, our marketing, what it was? A few leaflets in the letterboxes, an ad in the paper. You pray to God that someone from a newspaper would come and do a review on you, and then if you had the chance and got two and a half, not even, shouldn't even say that, a minute spot on some TV channel, then that blew up. Today, you can blow up your own TV channel, because it depends on how much work you put into it. And I'm learning this right now. I'm learning this probably too late, but the more effort you put into it, the more eyeballs, the more traction.
100%. There's a good example on that. The sandwich shop, when that opened,
yes,
I saw that all over my feed, lines out the door. But it was funny because I didn't even know it existed until it was on my feed. And then all of a sudden I'm like, well, I want to go there now.
Yeah.
Do you think that's now the playbook for a restaurant?
100%. Yep. It's a playbook, but you still need to be able to deliver. See, the attention, if you're able to create the attention, that's 20%. Then the other 30% is you need to deliver on the product. And the other 50% is giving people the best experience they've ever had. Now you see how I broke that down?
Experience still remains the best.
Experience is always key. Product needs to be a product that people are going to enjoy. And it doesn't matter, let's not talk about the restaurant industry. Even a product, a physical product that you're selling needs to, achieve what the consumer wants. But what's the experience in getting that product? And the eyeballs, or to get the attention, is 20%. Because you need to be able to introduce your product to someone. Like you said, Sandwich went crazy. Now maybe that was more than 20%, right? But then we had to deliver as well. It's not just about getting the people there. You can put money into ads. You can be an incredible influencer and everything else, and you get people, flocking to purchase your product. But if the product doesn't deliver, what you've done is you've got them there once, and then that's it.
So we talk about, like, in the agency, like, we have LTV, like, what's the lifetime value of a customer, right? I guess what's the equivalent? This is a two-part question. What's the equivalent to that, I guess, in the hospitality, coming back, repeatedly picking that as a spot to come to, but also that 50%, that experience. I know when I first met you, you spoke about, the attention, the influences, and then creating products, and then how challenging the actual experience can be to deliver on, and how make or break, and how, I don't say pedantic, but how that is important. Like, that is the most important part is.
Yeah, the experience is definitely the most important. People remember not what they ate, they remember how you made them feel. And when they walk away feeling good, then, how many times have you gone to a restaurant and they've made you feel amazing, and then if I said to you, what did you eat? And you'd be like, I can't remember. That's a good experience. Because the food was secondary. You went there, you must have enjoyed the food, because you wouldn't be telling me about your experience. See, the food was already enjoyable. It didn't matter to you at that point. What mattered to you was how the people made you feel.
Interesting. What is the kind of way about making them feel? Like, from an outside perspective, like, I look at it, it's like, if I open a restaurant, how am I going to make Johnny feel really good besides giving them really good food? What are you looking at?
I think and I talk about the 1%ers here. It's not how you serve them. I mean, every restaurant has sequence of service. That's great. How you put the fork down, where you put the plate, how do you pour the wine, their sequence of service. How you make them feel is your own personality coming out. And that's why I said we now hire on personality, not experience. We'll teach you how to put the fork down. We'll teach you how to carry the 3 plates. But if you love people, it comes out natural. And you'll naturally make people feel good because you genuinely care about the people. See, they're not people that are coming to eat. They're coming to visit. And if you can have that mindset that your guest is coming to visit, like they're coming to visit you at home, how do you make the people or your family or your friends that come and visit you at home, and because you're putting on a dinner and you invite them, how do you make those people feel at home? You make them feel welcome. You make them feel good. You'll go out of your way.
Do you think that also comes down to a little bit of the Italian in you?
Look, Italians are generally always hospitable. It doesn't matter. You can go to any Italian's home and I can guarantee you they're going to put, something on the table for you to eat, even if you're not hungry. That's just...
You've got to eat it.
You got to eat it, right? But I think today, Italian or not, everybody's adapting that attitude, that experience is key. We used to, when I was a kid, people used to come and eat at restaurants. Today they come and experience a restaurant. It's changed. People don't just go out to eat. You can go out to eat anywhere. People choose to eat at places that make them feel good.
So what are you doing now with Gradi, for example, to convey that experience?
That's where all the L&D is coming to it. We've put all our eggs into that basket now. It's all about, building that relationship with our guest. We don't want them to just be a customer. We want them to be part of our business. Really, come to us because, it's familiar. They're welcomed because we know who they are. We want them to bring their friends and families because, they want to feel as though they're going to somewhere that is familiar for them and that they know that their guests are going to be treated extremely well. That's the whole business model at the moment. It's all about the experience.
I don't want to go too deep into, COVID, for example. I think it all had an impact everywhere.
Yeah.
But do you think that has been caused the shift, I guess, towards this experience? People are now craving those experiences.
Possibly. I think what COVID did was probably make a lot of people become a little bit more introverted. Staying at home, not going out. Probably just starting to break through that now, to be honest with you. People going out a lot more. They're finding the entertainment piece. Where can we get some entertainment? If we're not traveling, at least what entertainment can I have? And dining out is part of that entertainment piece for a lot of people. Going to the football, going to the movies. You can see movies are starting to get full again. I love going to the movies. I prefer to go to the movies and sit at home and watch something on Netflix. Why? Because it's an experience. It's, at home, what's the experience? Oh, I put it on. Okay, I don't like that one. I'll flick another one. I don't like that one. I'll flick another one. Whereas when you're going to the movies, you're choosing which movie you're going to watch. You want to, purchase that popcorn. You might get a choc top. You might, whatever it is, right? It's the experience. You sit down, you want to sit on a nice chair. Most cinemas now, and it's a great thing to see. They've gone to recliners, even if you're just buying a normal, even these little micro cinemas have been amazing. So people are chasing the experience. People are chasing the feel good moment because we went through such a harsh period. How can we make ourselves feel good now without a break in the budget? Because cost of living is difficult, obviously, right? For everybody. And I mean everyone. It doesn't matter where, what position you're in life. It's difficult for everyone, but everybody still wants an experience piece. And if you, like I said, if you can't travel, a lot of people used to travel a lot, nearly every year. Now I'm finding that even my family and friends are saying, oh, no, I'm not going this year. Hopefully I can go next year. So while they're here, how can they fill that gap, that void in their life, Because we work hard. People are working hard. We want to be able to enjoy ourselves a little bit.
Obviously, you mentioned you're putting all your eggs in the basket into the L&D now, but going back to kind of this example of that smaller restaurant, what would you be saying to them to potentially increase that experience component in their establishment?
Treat people like you treat them when they come home. If you have that mindset, if you're already hospitable in your own home when you invite people, if you transfer that energy into your own restaurant, you'll be successful. You'll be successful because people will want to come and see you. That's what I love about an owner-operator.
100%. I want to take a little bit of a pivot to kind of mentorship or like courses. You're smiling at me. I feel like you have a point of view that we want to indulge in here.
Yeah.
We're, using the same example in this kind of restaurant. Now, do these kind of mentors, courses exist for that stuff? What would I be steering away for or should I be investing in it? What do you think?
Find mentors that are in the industry, not a mentor that works across many industries.
Explain.
A mentor that works across many industries really isn't focused on just one thing. They're trying to be something for everybody. And, they'll say, oh, but all the principles are the same. They're not. Because if you're running an IT company and you're running a restaurant, the business principles might be the same. Yes. But the way the businesses are operated are completely different. You don't need a mentor to have your business principles. You need an accountant, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it is, right? At the end of the day, it's a P&L. But if you want to get a mentor that is in your industry that has achieved what you want to achieve and more. I'll give you a story. I went to a financial advisor one day and I want to understand how we can, make our position a little bit better than what it is. And financial advisor was giving me all this advice on you should do this, do this, do this, do this, and you should buy properties and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That was great. And he was selling me the service. And, the service wasn't cheap. And I said, okay, that's great. So it all sounds fantastic. I said, I've got one question. Can I ask you a question? And they said, yes, you can. I said, how many properties do you own? He goes, I don't own a property. I'm still trying to get into the market. I said, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. And I walked away. Obviously, I didn't take the services. Why? How is someone that hasn't been able to purchase a property give me advice on
what to do?
So whatever it is that you want to do, go find someone that is 100-fold what you want to get to, and that's the person that is going to mentor you.
You spoke about the 1%ers and then obviously people being spread across multiple industries. Again, it's like things change every single day.
They do.
How can I be in the tech industry and hospitality and then knowing this is changing in this industry every single day and being able to adapt?
Can't. And that's the reason why I say find the person in the industry.
When you started, did you have a mentor?
No.
Was there a reason behind that, or you just?
I thought I knew everything.
Is that a fallacy?
I think if I had a mentor, I probably would have achieved a lot more. I'm not against mentors. I just think you need to find the right one.
It's challenging. Don't rush into it either.
Don't rush into it.
What about mentors that are paid?
That are paid?
Yeah.
Good and bad. They'll beat at the rhythm of what they believe you need to hear, so they can continue getting their fee. You need to find the mentor that will, tell you the hard truth, not be your friend or not pump up your tires or not tell you that you're doing amazing stuff. I don't need someone to tell me that I'm doing amazing stuff. I need someone that's going to tell me where I need to fix my business. And some mentors are scared to tell people that because they think that you're going to drop them, or I'm getting this monthly fee from this person, and if I offend them, they're going to cancel my services. If I'm mentoring something, and let's say I'm mentoring something, and it's a paid mentor, and I offend you, and you don't want my services anymore, you do me a favor, because I don't want to waste my time with someone that doesn't want to listen. Because if you already know what you want, then just go and do it. There's nothing wrong with it, but just don't pay me. Why? Just let that mentor go. Hard truth hurts.
100%. I guess I kind of want to look in the future. Where is Johnny going?
It's a good question. I'm not at the end of the career. I'm still, I'm not even 50 yet. So I've still got, a few years left in me. we'll continue building the business. That's where I am going. I mean, manufacturing is a big part of my business at the moment. So, that's something that is difficult, and we're new to it. We're only 5 years in or 6 years in. But we're doing, I think we're doing quite well. Apart from that, I think I will probably get into consulting in the future. That's going to be my future. I want to help other businesses, especially in the hospitality industry. I think I've got enough battle scars to be able to help people. I've gone through my apprenticeship. It's a long time ago. Do I know everything? I'll never suggest that I know everything. There's no way that I'll ever do that, because you learn every day. I'm still learning today. But I have enough knowledge to be able to help people.
100%. Just really quickly want to touch on that manufacturing. 5 years, you said, correct?
Yeah.
35. How does someone, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. How do we start from, 9 businesses, 19, and then Gradi, 18, nearly 2 decades, manufacturing, like everything. How do you even get to that level or decide to go into, say, fulfillment or manufacturing, what's the thought process there?
Look, manufacturing came through, have you heard people say, a lot of good things came out of COVID and a lot of bad things came out of COVID? Mm-hmm. I had more bad things come out of COVID than anything. Yeah. But if I had to say one thing that COVID pushed me into, was manufacturing. Because at the time, we closed all the restaurants. We only had Brunswick operating. The rest of them were closed. And we started packing, all our products, and we opened up a little factory that we had on Lygon Street, and we essentially opened it up like a little market store, and we were selling pre-made meals, and we were doing coffee and selling flour and biscuits and whatever we could find, like a little market. And I was lucky enough to be approached by a guy, and he said to me, "Hey, your products are amazing. Why have you ever thought about getting into supermarkets?" And at that time, like, you can imagine, the mindset that I was in. I was tired, struggling to just keep the doors open. And I just said, "Yeah, man, if you can do that, I'll start tomorrow." But I was just saying it, just to say it. And he said, "I'll come and see you tomorrow." And I thought, "Oh, okay, no worries." And he actually ended up coming to see me, and he said, "Listen, I think your products will do well in the supermarkets." So he approached supermarkets, and we ended up getting into IGAs and then Coles. And so that pushed me into manufacturing. It wasn't part of my business model.
Yeah.
Never was. I never wanted to pre-package anything. But it was that push in that direction that actually saved the restaurant business.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think it's important then? I mean, a personal value I hold is like luck. It's lucky that you ended up getting that fulfillment offer or that manufacturing offer. It was preparation and timing.
Definitely.
But do you think it's also just taking the opportunities and how important that is in growing?
Yeah. I'm a big believer of taking all opportunities, assessing them, running with the ones that you believe can work, and still assessing the ones that you don't believe that would work, but park them. Don't deny them or wipe them off. Park them. Park them somewhere that you can go back and have a look at in the future, because you never know what can come out of it. This opportunity was something that I went with. And yeah, I've put all my eggs into that basket because I believed in it. It's hard. Manufacturing is difficult. I'm new. Like I'm like the new kid on the block. I'm a child when it comes to manufacturing.
What is that like? I think, entrepreneurs and business owners, I don't want to say we have like an ego, but like, you know, there is an element of it to that sense. Do you think, you know, being in that position, you know, you've got your, like you said, battle scars in hospitality. You've stepped into a completely new industry. And like you're saying right now, as you're a kid.
Yeah, I've got not battle scars. I've got, I've been hit by a bomb. Yeah, manufacturing is difficult. It really is. It's taken, you know, the systems and processes to another level that really. I'm not even, like I'm still catching up on trying to put them in place 100%. But manufacturing is 10 times harder than a restaurant. And now I realize why there aren't so many manufacturers in Australia, because it's difficult. It really is.
And even the same thing, like you said before, around, you know, 10 years of struggling with Gradi.
Correct.
5 years in.
Struggling.
And you're still struggling.
Struggling, yeah.
And people will start tomorrow and think, 6 months, a year.
Give up.
100%.
Yeah, the old saying, you know, the guy that's smashing the brick wall and the wall won't fall, and he's hit it 1,000 times. And he puts the hammer down and you come along, you pick up the hammer and smash the wall and it drops in 1 minute. It's not because you were stronger. It's because he did all the hard work for you. And that's what happens with people. They go, give up. Someone else sees the idea, takes it, runs with it, and does well. It's because you've already put that idea out into the market. You just didn't have the strength to give it that one more go.
It really just does come down to just
one more go.
Just one more.
And when you think one more, and then I've had enough. No, one more.
Wow.
When does the one more end?
You never know.
That's right.
I guess I'll finish up. I ask this to a lot of people is, you know, the 1%, you know, it's not luck that you've ended up where you are. What is it that separates the 1% in a value sense? I think we also just kind of answered this in the one more from the people that potentially don't get there.
One more go. Yeah, don't stop. Never stop, never give up. And if someone's in your ear telling you to stop, it's not enough, or, you know, you've had enough, give it up.